Welcome to another edition of Tea Talk, a transsexual's perspective on the world around us. Today's show is basically a show of me venting. I have to almost pinch myself because actually I don't even believe that I've survived these last few days. This has just been a week from hell, basically. It all started last week, Thursday, when Michael Jackson died. Yes, I have to address the topic. Despite all the controversy with him, I just think that, he was such a phenomenal entertainer and he really touched the entire planet. And I didn't realize that his death would affect me as much as it did. I actually shed a few tears for him. I was sleeping that Friday morning. It was about 4 o'clock, and I had fallen asleep with my TV on. And I was awakened to one of his slow songs. I think it was You Are Not Alone. And I swear I just started crying. And I guess that was my way of just honoring the gift that he was to our planet. Okay, so fast forward to Saturday. Coming home from work, I'm in a car crash. And I wasn't driving fast. I mean, moderate speed coming off of I-95, the expressway, onto the ramp. And my speed was slowing down. And a work truck, came into the entire ramp and did like a U-turn. So I had to press on my brakes faster than I normally would have to. Well, my brakes didn't work. And oh my God, I was like, why isn't my car stopping? For any of you out there that has happened to, you know how scary that is. You're in this car and it's not stopping. So I had to make a split decision. Do I hit the truck ahead of me or do I swerve to the shoulder? And I chose to swerve to the shoulder. My car never stopped and I ended up slamming into one of those tall light poles. The airbag went out when it came out, and I had my seatbelt on, thank God. I'm one of the ones that it's 50-50 with me. I try to remember to always click my seatbelt, but not all the time. It doesn't always work. But this particular time, I did, and I've certainly learned my lesson from that. So, and the police, when they showed up, they said, you were really fortunate. There was an accident 2 days prior. And the woman actually passed away. So I am really counting my blessings that I'm still here on the planet. I guess it wasn't my time. So I'm devastated from the accident. And I get home. And my cat looks horrible. I'm like, what is wrong with her? Now, there are cat people and there are dog people. I've always been a dog person up until about a year ago when this cat showed up at my doorstep. And I tell you, for like 4 days I ignored her. I didn't really want a cat. I wasn't into them. And when I say ignore her, I would say hello, but I didn't feed her. And on the 4th day, my heart opened up to her and I fed her, so you know what that means. She wasn't going anywhere. So as the months went along, I just opened up to the beauty of what cats bring to the world. I mean, I never understood them, and they love in a different way. It's like oranges and apples. You just can't compare cats and dogs. But I got so close to her, I really did, and she was like my little girl. And I'd come out and I'd play with her like on the weekends, and she'd spread out completely and want me to rub on her belly, and just, always rubbing up against me. When I drove home at night from work, she was always waiting for me, waiting to greet me and, of course, to eat her meal, But there was just such love between the two of us. And I just couldn't understand. I'm like, she was okay the day before. What is wrong with her? So I tried to feed her, and she wouldn't eat. actually tried to give her some water, and she didn't drink anything, and she just really looked bad, you know. So the next day, I left the food there, and with me having no car, there was no way for me to really get her to the Humane Society or to the vet. So it was like one of those situations like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And so anyway, the next morning I opened the door and she looked, oh my God, 100 times worse. And I just knew it was the end. I knew it was the end. I tried to feed her, and you know, I started crying, and I was like, come on, eat, and you know, like she was gonna really do it, but I lost it at that point, you know, the accident and now her being really sick, it just was too much. And she just walked slowly away from me, and she went over to the fence, and the fence was like, she was leaning up against the fence so weak. And I went into my apartment and I closed the door, and I just was like, I can't take this. I called my landlord to warn him because I was not going to be able to move my dead cat. Not after everything I had gone through. I just couldn't deal with it. So I spoke with my good friend Onyx, and she's really she's a cat person. Well, I guess I kind of am now, but she was really one before me, and she was saying to me like, well, you know, maybe you should go outside and check on her, cover her over. And I'm like, you know, saying, well, I don't know if I can even handle that. What if I go outside and she's dead? And so anyway, after a while, I opened the door, and do you know, my cat, as weak as she was, found her way back to my door. And outside my door, I used to have like a blanket set up on a chair for her to like sit there and be comfortable. And she managed to jump up, as weak as she was, and she was laying there. And poor little thing, she was having such a difficult time breathing. And so I just kind of leaned down and I tried to give her some water, nothing. I tried to feed her, nothing. So at that point, I just covered her body, and, you know, I was rubbing her head. And I'm sorry. There was just this love between us, and I realized how much I really cared for her now that she's gone, you know. And I just kind of said goodbye to her, you know. I told her I loved her, and I knew that would be it. She wouldn't make it through the night. I just knew it. And I leaned down by her, and she kind of like opened her eyes and looked into my eyes. And I was like, you know, sweetie, I love you. So anyway, I know you all know what happened. By the morning, she had passed away. And Ray, who's a friend of my landlord and myself, he's kind of like the handyman around there. He was nice enough to move her for me. And I have to say, you know, she'll always have such a special place in my heart. I was thinking last night, I always didn't understand cats, and I had like this, I would say, somewhat of a prejudice against them. I mean, I didn't hate them, but I just didn't really want them around me, and I didn't understand them, so I guess there was somewhat of an ignorance. And you know what? That's what people do to us transgender people. You know, I thought, God, we're kind of like cats. You know, there's people that just don't understand us, and because of that, right away they, you know, don't want anything to do with us. They don't want us around, and they don't even want to open up to the spirit that we are and the love that we have. Well, I am so happy I opened up to my cat. She taught me a wonderful lesson, and I will miss her. This show is dedicated to my cat, sweetie. I love you. And maybe I'll see you in heaven. Until next week, love, peace, and blessings.